Welcome to Arch, Stack and Stump formation with Mr. Mercer. This is a fairly common question and one that you really want to be sure of being able to answer. The reason for that is that it kind of incorporates a lot of aspects of coastal erosion and you can score high marks in it. This means if you are given it as a question, it's likely to be for a slightly higher number of marks. Now, the diagram you see in front of you it represents a headland sticking out into the sea. That will become more apparent as the video progresses. Arch, stack and stump formation is best understood by telling it like a story. First of all, a crack forms within the rock. As you can see, a crack has just appeared on my diagram. And now you could go into the detail of exactly how that crack forms. One way would be to refer to it as a joint within the rock, and joints within rocks are formed by processes such as isostatic uplift, when glaciers melted off the land and that caused the landmass to effectively bounce back after the weight of the ice was removed. In any case, there is a crack within the rock. This crack is attacked by the various processes of coastal erosion and is widened. This is a key point in your answer, as it allows you to start talking about processes. Talk about abrasion, rocks being thrown against the headland, wearing it away. Hydraulic action, bubbles of gas being forced into weaknesses within the rock, shattering it apart. Wave pounding, the physical weight of the water being thrown against the rock, breaks it apart. Notice in each explanation I'm using slightly different language to separate my answers. I'm not repeating myself. So hydraulic action shatters, whereas wave pounding breaks, whereas abrasion wears away. You would need to go into the full detail for any such term. The crack is widened and widens again into a cave. If you were doing this in diagram form, it's important, I would say, for the examiner to be able to readily see where a cave is a cave and not, as we're about to see in a second, an arch. And a quick and easy way of doing that is to just detail an arch with a little bird in it. It becomes very apparent that quite clearly you're meant to be able to see through that arch. Arches form in various ways, but one way which is easy to remember and to describe is that where there is a cave forming on either side of the headland, you can imagine the backs of those caves eventually meet and you're left with a tunnel straight through the rock, known as an arch. Again, make sure by this stage in the answer that you've talked about your main processes of erosion: abrasion, hydraulic action, and wave pounding. At this point, to score really great marks, you need to be able to explain how the arch collapses into the sea. It's a common mistake to refer to wave pounding, etc., weakening the arch. However, in reality, the arch is normally quite high up, or can be at least very high up, and is certainly quite clearly high up in the diagram that we've drawn here. So it's not a convincing argument to say that wave pounding is the causal factor here. Better would be to refer to weaknesses forming within the rock. You can see some weaknesses have just appeared. Now, those weaknesses could be because of weathering processes, such as biological weathering, where mosses and lichens put down roots into the rock and those roots break it apart. Salt crystallization, where the constant exposure to moisture and seawater causes salt crystals to grow within the rock, shattering it apart. And finally, freeze thaw, where water gets into cracks in the rocks, freezes, expands and breaks it apart. These are another three processes which allow you to explain how the rock is being broken down or weathered away. Make sure that you refer to them being weathered away, as these are weathering processes, not erosion processes. In any case, that's how the arch is weakened, and ultimately the arch collapses into the sea, leaving, on the right-hand side here, a stack. that stack is then further eroded down and weathered down into a stump. It depends what the question is asking for, but often the question merely asks you to go as far as explaining a stack formation, in which case you'll be given no real credit for talking about a stump. You might gain credit if you were to refer to the fact that this process will, in all likelihood, happen again and again, causing the headland of rock to retreat back towards the coastline. In any case, the key revision point here is to make sure you know your processes. That's the erosive processes and the weathering processes. If you have any questions, especially questions about perhaps how to draw this, then come and find me in class. Otherwise, study hard, and thanks for watching. Bye.